All right, human. So here's the deal. You ever heard of something called necrotizing fasciitis? About 100 years ago, 200 years ago, 300 years ago, the amount of people that walked the earth that actually knew that particular medical term was so far and few between. I don't know how many people awake and alive today know what it means. But that's your, Catherine the Great. Here's the thing. Diana Prince, right, is the cover name for Wonder Woman. You can ask Marvel, DC Comics down in Maryland of my Christian nation that I own and that I helped build in namesake for myself and for Nicholas in our return, since universally things are built around one man, one woman. I happen to be she, which is why everything aligns just perfectly down the scope from there to here. Even though humans failed then to keep my family in the loop and in the know of everything that I was doing on their behalf, to my behest. But then again, I can't just remote control humans into doing what I need. I wish I could, but whatever. Diana Prince, Diana Prince, is the white woman with raven color hair and ice blue eyes. That's who you put into whatever her real name was, it doesn't matter, into the provocative costume and had run around. Right. She wasn't allowed to have dark blonde hair because we didn't want too much similarity, and pointed at me for literal paper action records that come before my body does as we're trying to fix things. Along the way, finding out who's breaking into whose immortal records that they're not allowed to even look at without permission. If it's going to happen and I want you to know about it, I'll let you know. But there's some things we're trying to avoid. So before you becoming cognizant and aware of it, we normally either deny it because it hasn't happened yet, or we try to reroute you into where we need you to be, because if we can't tell you about it, it's because it's getting to be the dangerous route that nobody wants to be down. And that's in necrotizing fasciitis. Like, if you have necrotizing fasciitis, it's called the flesh-eating bacteria. Flesh, eating, E-A-T-I-N-G, bacteria, B-A-C-T-E-R-I-A. It starts where you have an open wound. It gets under the skin, and at first you don't really notice it. It just looks like the area around it gets red and swollen. Then it starts to spread more, and then it starts to necrotize, which means it cuts off the blood supply. At one point, if you don't chop off the limb that's been infected, or depending on where in the body you are infected with it, it then gets into the bloodstream and it might travel. And then usually it's instantaneous after that point, death. But it's not a nice death. It is something, though, that happens. It's kind of how I feel about humans traveling. We, as gods, know more than you, because we sit at cloud 9, and we either say da or nine, yet no, none, don't do it. Because we're able to see so far ahead that we know what's good and what's bad. What becomes a problem is when we tell you, don't do it, nine, yet, none, zip, zilch, zip, zip, nada. We had to add more words since humans were all areas stupid, and they're like, wait a minute, what one does this mean? The same as the first 3, now that you need a second set of 4-letter no's. So in like 4 different languages. All right, so here we are in that whole fashion industry, in vogue, ENVOGUE, the FASHION. I called them the fascist Nazis, although then I had to be careful once Nazis became cool. But at first I was very, like, against the Nazis. I said, these hoity-toity, like, H-O-I-T-I, toity, T-O-I-Y-T-I. Hold on. They were located in New York, London. Let's see, where else were they located? I have to secure my cabin, considering they're doing landscaping right at this moment. All right, so there are, they were in New York, London, France, and those were those runway assholes, RUNWAYASSHOLES. Oh, that's a tie-in to the other assholes, being the pilots who went to commercial flight, took all of the metal that we said 9, yet, no, none, zip, zilch, nada, ain't happening. I'm not increasing your metal consumption. I don't want you building they flappy winged birds. No thanks. But they're not, like, does she realize that, like, they just move a little, they're really safe? She realizes that the aircraft she builds is a no-winged, very rigid unit, and they give you, like, a watered-down version. I think you call them G-Force, the Mach, the ones that go, like, really fast. Yeah, that's me mocking you, little rigid birdie wing of commercial flight. So all area assholes can now take flight and cause a real necrotizing fasciitis problem in my future when I come back. 9, yet, ain't happening. So all area stupid fucking human. Where did you go wrong? Oh, let me tell you. Oh, since you asked. Oh, sure. Okay, so here's the thing. 1, we said I am, Niklaus and I, being the U.S. custodial parents who have the purse, the one I am holding, with his money in it. Get this? Great. I hold the purse. He holds the strings, and he holds the money that is in it, so we don't lose, like, track of one another. I have an object to hold. He has his object to hold on to me, so he doesn't lose me. And Diana Prince, Wonder Woman, Superman, leaping and bounds to only one another. And then whoever's loyal underneath that, that's the way we come. So if we have, which we do, so we're just going to claim that. The claim is CLAIM and has been substantiated throughout multiple sources. He and I, I'm year 3, and he's year 4. We're the first humans in all of existence. That is our year. That is the year that we use when we are brought as immortal superheroes, I suppose you would. I don't know. When you walk in, I mean, as gods, we said, okay, well, if you need us for the meeting on, like, okay, like, yeah, we don't use your calendar, but what? Okay, so, right, okay, on the Gregorian new calendar that we created for humans in super quiet places of the king's men only, and the king's men we say are king's men for our protection against humans and our equipment, because you humans don't have very good credit with God. You've been ruining the world, each other, getting angry, and then searching for us and how we are who we are. Through rumors that you heard. Or through ruined business partners that then you want to see the head of the custodial department, which then you have to be vetted through the church department, because the ministry is not sending the two of us into harm's way, being what's at stake is their lives, their children's lives, and the next earthbound version of them. Do you understand? So here we are. We had walk-on parts that were documented. Some of them were, I guess you could say, filmed in our way of always having a film crew around no matter where we go, whenever we appear or arrive. So there we are. Now, I don't get this, because we funded the U.S. to have a Mickey sticker book club of protection for all of the world's children, separate, single and separate from the business office, being the church, the Katarusa Hitler unit of Katarusa and Hitler, since we own the good and the bad and the unit in between, since we are the immortal supers and the rest of you are some kind of idiot, lunacy, moron, or you might actually be a good person, and then I have to figure out another way to protect you, depending on how the ratios go of good to evil. That's our placement. Always was. So now I'm a little confused at all area, just normal, grounded human in this one life that you get to live, where we're actually here. Your part, by the way, your part, we told your parents, your grandparents, and now we're telling you, your part was to honor us for taking care of your grandparents, your parents, and for you having whatever it was that you woke up with. That was our agreement with you, and you got to live. As we were then going through rebuilding, depending on how many mistakes your parents and grandparents made before you were brought into the picture. But we, meaning Niklaus and I, have been here the whole time. And we have accurate documentation of hanging out with my grandfather and some of his army men in Europe, away from the Iowa boy and the West Virginia kissing cousins group of, I don't really know, I'm not connected into that at the moment. It depends on what I need to bring up as to where my servant to vent relationship is at the moment. Let's think about this. All right, the necrotizing fasciitis. Okay, so we had a problem first with the winged birds and moving people, and then asking and wanting to know for business purposes. Then business grew to political. Then political grew to just everybody, because everybody started communicating. Then we had lines of communication, which were only allowed in King's Men. My most high and elite. Like, you have to be a Sigma 6, a Mountain 6, Sector Vector, like that I choose of my extra special men and guards. Right. And then, and I'm not going into Beef Eater because that became a problem after the whole heterosexual group went into a meeting and were like, now why are you all in fashion industry laughing at us? In our words. Yeah, it was very really like the two wild and crazy gods. No, these are our men that have families and are the most respectable men on the planet, according to us, which is God's word and law, in case you didn't read your agenda for today and how our relationship works with the theatrical company of human. So, so many fights along the way, having to defend the correct people, always being the men that protect he and I, and the equipment. The rest of you, I will get to you when I get to you. I mean, I will be more than happy to meet on your concerns, especially if it's something that has to do with the mixing of business and pleasure. You understand, when you are growing a world and you are running a gigantic multi-lingual, multi-racial, multi-ethnic planet of things that move, they're never to move from the stupa, S-T-U-P-P-A. You idiot Americans, they're not supposed to move from their stoop. Like if we're doing, you know, like the kid was sitting outside of the Omega house, disaster house, while there was like Secret Service across the way in some black like Utah or Tahoe truck for like a couple of weeks just to make sure she was okay while something else was going down in Long Island, pretending like they didn't exist, she didn't exist. Yeah, like that's stoop. Right, that's community where you're supposed to sit there. You're not supposed to get on planes, not supposed to get in cars to look for jobs. That's why your farms went down. That's why, like, we put money into the United States of America. 50 postage stamps, which was going to be the tribunal, TRIBUNAL, of where Goddess, the one with the purse, the strings, the guy who also writes the checks, because he has the Torah and the ability to read and write, where the woman, I mean, she's smart, but he's always smarter than she is, with purpose, and she likes it that way. Why would I want to be the smartest woman in the world when I have him? Do you understand? Then I would be a challenge to him. He teaches me things, and then there's a reason for us to communicate and to enjoy one another's company. If I knew everything, how boring would that relationship be? And the other thing is, by the way, I know I've heard this with you women, totally misconstrued. Did you know, head of the Catholic Church, we put women in abbeys, ABBEYS, to keep them safe from being raped and taken advantage of by all of your fashions of having to break apartheids and move new men into the area that the women didn't feel comfortable around. You get that, right? I know you never see it from the women's side of view, but I wouldn't want like gigantic, like 6'5", like African American being the dark color coming in that's used to the Congo area of like they're a different type of civil law. Usually it's lawless, depends on the year that we're trying to manage things and what else in necrotizing fasciitis has exploded on the epidemiology scale of things. So I would not feel, I mean, if the gentleman had a suit on and came to speak to me at a friendly manner, I would in public be inclined to speak nicely. If he approaches me with an AK-47 and like just street clothes on in my home country, I would be rather put off, and he'd need to be put down for coming at me aggressively. That's the way that works. But I don't actively pursue these men because they have jobs to protect their communities at stoop level, STOOP. That's the local stoop that your community leader, your religious your church, your whatever you do to make yourself known and a good person in that community, that's where you stay. It's when you get on a plane and you travel, now you become a terrorist. It's when you get on the phone and you now start communicating to outside terrorist organizations, sending people over purposely, knowing that there's not allowed to be a further outbreak of your kind. Your kind was allowed to stay, and we were going to give communal stuff and figure out a way to peacefully work things out. But then I had foreign nations going, oh, as long as they have the children there, like, ask for this, how can you get us back? How can you have see if we can get some of this. Oh, I need you to, like, outbreak, like get really angry and, like, start talking about this. Let's see if they get a call from the embassy over here. I mean, then it starts the game of playing, and now you ruined it for both sides. This is what the children of Earth do, like fucking assholes and idiots at Kingsman level. I read a thing on Facebook, which I put up today. I can't ignore these things any longer. I'm just too fucking tired of listening to you humans act like somebody gives a shit about you, when the one woman that does give a shit about you and was trying to protect you all along, it's her natural duty, who doesn't want to eradicate everything that's colored. She just wants to put it back where it belongs with the others so we can build those communities to give you something and your grandchildren something worth living in and for. And letting my grandchildren have something to live in and whatever. Do you understand? It's a two-way street. It's a win-win. I don't build things where it's I'm always winning and you're, well, actually, let's not use me because I don't count in this sense. I always have to, a balance. I'm always winning something, losing something, and I have to balance on two stilettos at the same time. The rest of you are at effect and affect of my ability to keep the winning and losing in the right direction for all of the children's safety. Whether you want to think that it's a good progressive thing or not, doesn't matter what you think, because we know what is good for the entire planet. The people that look like you here and the people that look like you elsewhere. Do you understand? There's one town. I put this up on Twitter the other day and Facebook. The only place I can get smart information from, thank you, Ukraine, Russian, in the USA in Russia, thank you for your tweet account. It's like the only historical references I need and that I can remember and that are important for other purpose. Between the Nazis and Stalin and Marx and just the words, not the actual people or whatever transpired, because I didn't live through it. I was trying to fix your management and the rest of the world at the same, talking about balancing two stilettos between the acrylics that I love more than anything, and then the US, which I was helping get off their feet without attracting too much of the other children in how do I get from acrylic nation to where I need to be in DC Marvel Comics for a assassination in like 5 seconds. None of your human business, I'll tell you that much. So here's the thing. Yeah, let that cat out of the bag, but whatever. I don't really give a shit. All right. So, and that's the other thing. I've said before, I said, listen, my Bleeding Heart Foundation, I have children. I have the ones from my womb, my stomach, right? That I carry and bring into the world. And then there's these children that are Negro. They did not grow in my womb, but they are landed all over. And they are going to have children, and they are going to have children. And I have to keep an eye on how to slowly and safely grow not only community and nation, landmass, but then also country, statesman, nation, and keep it all in some form of congruence and understanding as to he and I have the ultimate say. It is the genetic keys to the kingdom. We're the anatomicals that run. If you think of, here's the thing. You don't think of this for some reason as human, but other animal species have it. You have bees, B-E-E-S, in a hive, H-I-V-E. The honeycomb, H-O-N-E-Y-C-O-M-B, right? They produce honey, H-O-N-E-Y. There's always one queen. And then there is drone men, D-R-O-N-E-M-E-N. Those are the worker bees, W-O-R-K-E-R-B-E-E-S. Great. They go out, they find pollen, they come back, the one queen lays her one set of eggs, and all of the men live for the one woman, keeping the whole hive humming and keeping the bees going and coming back. Good. And then there are some larvae that stay behind and build. I usually say that they are the stepped down drones, which I guess in human understanding you could say female, because they don't, why would you want to send a female out to possibly be harmed by a hornet or a whatever a larger insect that might eat a bee or a bird. Right, and so this is the other thing, right? So I, throughout the ages, have always watched over the women, but I am normally with my one forevermore, which is what we call our immortal relationship of I just want one man and it's always him. It's always going to look the same, and it's always who I am inclined and in tuned for, and that I'm made for, manufactured for, I say. And so I want, so he and I remain constant as the, we say Planck's constant, PLANCKS because, and then we say, here's the thing, brother, you have a splinter in your eye, SPLINTER. You discovered something about, he would say, this is what Nicklaus would say, about my wife being Nicole, and the extra specialness of our relationship being that it is the tree of Lynn, TREELIN, is what the body of Nicklaus's wife, being Nicole, comes back as. That happens at a set cycle, depending on the star, moon, the sun, moon, and star contract that we have with humans. It matters with what relations are going on between the Church of English being the protesters, because one of the businesses around the world, or one of the children around the world, is always upset about something. Yeah, so we stick them in the Church of Protestant English in the United Kingdom. So they go protest over in that area, separate and single in white territory from the breakout of whatever elsewhere, and I can only have one place remain all white all the time without different religions. Catholic, Protestant, that's it, and it better be all white, non-facially disfigured. That's what we said. That's an all-area advisory, an all-area time and space, like exclusive, where they must remain that way for a specific purpose. And when you see that landscape changing, God forbid, then you know where we are at explosion of diarrhea and security breaches. This is how, I mean, like, the Planck's constant is how you are able to use a bar, a BAR, like a limbo, LIMBOBAR, to see how high or how low security is on the planet based on how the drones are moving, meaning the humans, based on how the queen is doing, which would be myself. There's also, that's at honeybee level, HONEYBEELEVEL. I don't know why you would ever introduce a Africanized, aggressive honeybee, they're not even honeybees, aggressive bee into a docile honeybee hive. The honeybees were not looking for trouble. They were not asking for trouble. They were just being honeybees and happy the way that their hive was working. Why would you go elsewhere, grab a more aggressive colonization, which you already know to be true, and then capture it, and then purposely travel, and make travel arrangements, no less, to a non-aggressive area to introduce the species. This coincides, by the way, with another event with the appearance of a mosquito. MOSQUITO. Both of them being south of my equatorial line, which I, at the moment, am not making reference to for a specific necrotizing fasciitis purpose. Hold on, Lou is bothering me. Okay, so that's that. Oh, and Lady Diana, the one with the two prince palace of she had two kids, so I guess they're princes. I don't really know how your side of titles you think you're entitled to work, based on how my family is acknowledged and brought into the loop. Business office is in the Church of England. The other business office is in the Vatican and Papal State. So I'm just curious. I trust the Father in Rome way more than I trust the Queen of England. Just saying. Queen of England and I have a tumultuous past based on the necrotizing fasciitis she let go on at my behest, and just wouldn't listen. And of course, I'm not an aggressive African whatever like she is, so I don't go after her whatever. So here we are in the CRT 2020 in one queen hive of honeybee, being the correct color, being the KC and the RC all in the same for the Holy Crusades. And it's actually the Holly Crusades, HOLLY CRU, being the crew for the GRU in acrylic, GRU. The Catholics are the crew, CRU, of the most important, being Niklaus and I, and then whoever we choose. The GRU grew up right in Russia, GRU, the little green men, LITTLEGREEN. I called them Marvin the Martians, MARVIN, MARTIAN, for their pairing with their English-speaking and Nazi-speaking brothers. Right, the Torah Twitch, right, yeah, that one. Okay, so, let's see, right, so Princess Diana, since that's the route you idiots went in the C1978, the CR1978, and the CRT1978, since all three of those routes already included a woman by the name of Princess Diana or Lady Diana, LADY, or PRINCESS, whom, by the way, I really liked. And I was looking forward to meeting as kind of like my family was not proper, I suppose you say. They were low-class Americans, but not that, I mean, you could still be in a lower class, being that you have no money or environment, no education or anything, but you could still be of proper inner zodiac, inner spirit animal, which is what I am. And so I was looking forward to meeting someone who knew more things and could teach me. When I was little, I used to tell Judy, I used to say, Judy, I am sorry, I don't know if they'll let me take you with me. I said, or if anybody wants to meet you. I was like, but in the future, I said, but when Niklaus and I get together, but I said, I will do my best because I don't want to ever lose you or leave you. And that was the way that worked. But then when she died, I mean, I had a vision that I was in the car and it crashed, and then I woke up, and then I had to tell Judy right away that, like, the car crashed. I didn't know what happened.